Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Everything Everywhere All at Once. This episode is called Power to the People, Social States. I'm your host, Stephen Edwards. So let's get started here. We covered a lot less ground in episode 3 than we did in episode 2. We did a shortened version, a substantially shortened version, and I want to continue in that vein in this episode 4. But at the end of episode 3, we were discussing how the governmental systems of countries with borders has long been how the world has been divided and ruled. Each country had its own laws, social systems, and economy. Whatever resources found within the imaginary borders of that country belong to its government, which they protect, usually with military force or the threat of force. This system of countries with borders is falling away. Maybe not in your perception right now, but I'm going to show you how it is falling away and how it is going to continue to fall away and open up a whole new world for us, right? Which is going to be radically different. All right, so right now it's happening slowly, but just as, quantum physics and artificial intelligence have both been around for a long, long time, they suddenly reach critical mass. And that's what's going to happen here. It's going to creep upon us. Little things, little signs will be there, but it will come at a point where it'll come to a point where it'll hit critical mass. But you want to be aware of that long before that to take advantage of this shift. All right. So like I said, the same thing will occur to the breaking down of borders and countries and government. The cracks, as you will see, are already apparent. So let's take a look. All right, so we got the title of this from Everything Everywhere All at Once, the movie, and the quantum physics involved in that as well are all going to play a role in the fact that we are living in the multiverse right now. We've talked about that. And Apple is one of these companies that are creating their own multiverse and their own state, their own corporate state, if you like. So Apple is worth $3 trillion. Thereabouts, right? That's the 4th largest GDP in the world, bigger than France, UK, India, Italy, Canada, Brazil. Apple is in 115 countries. There are millions of people who trust Apple, or maybe even Tim Cook, more than they trust their own government. There are people who believe Apple has their best interest at heart, paving the way for this massive shift, because first of all, from a financial perspective, Apple have wield tremendous power and influence, and also over the hearts and minds of people. So another company, Microsoft, as of July of this year, 2023, they boast a colossal market capitalization of about 2.6 trillion, making it the second most valuable company, just a little behind Apple, if you can call $400 billion a little. But over the past few years, Microsoft's market capitalization has witnessed a steady ascent, fueled by its relentless business growth. The company's primary revenue stream stems from its cloud computing arm, Azure. So this is massive growth in this cloud computing arena, as we'll see. And they're competing head-on with Amazon Web Services, which, as we'll see, is the biggest part of Amazon's business as well. And of course, Google have their own cloud platforms. But as of Q1 2023, Azure accounts for 31% of Microsoft's operating profit. This means that Azure is Microsoft's second most profitable business segment after its productivity and business processes. So this is expected to grow significantly with the exponential growth and importance of data. You've heard me talk about how data is the most valuable resource on earth. Here it's showing, right? The profit margins on this iCloud business are astronomical. So there's high demand. It has low costs. It's difficult for people to change once they pick an iCloud platform because it's got a high cost of switching. There's not that much competition. There is a protection of intellectual property, patents, and licenses, all make cloud computing extremely profitable. Additionally, Microsoft garners substantial revenue from its productivity software suite, of course, Office 365, as well as its gaming sector. encompassing the Xbox console and Xbox Game Pass subscription service. Positioned as a major player in the technology industry, Microsoft's future growth hinges on its ability to remain competitive in the lucrative cloud computing market. Moreover, the company is actively investing in emerging domains such as artificial intelligence and augmented reality, which both hold promising potential for future expansion. So corporations, like countries, are going to wield power, lose power, gain power, switch power, just as, they used to call it Great Britain. That, at one point, that no longer made any sense, so they had to change it to the United Kingdom, right? Okay, so another company, of course, is Meta, formerly known as formerly known as Facebook, right? So, prominent technology giant has experienced a significant decline, though, in market value as of July 2023. What did I say? These companies will gain power, lose power. It'll chop and change depending on how they keep up, what they do, and the changes they make, right? So according to the stock market data from Yahoo Finance, the company's valuation mid this year was about $514 billion, a staggering almost 50% drop for its peak value of 1.6 trillion in September 2021. Again, just verifying what I'm saying. Several key factors have contributed to this downturn. Foremost among them is the declaration of growth in its social media platforms. Notably, Facebook's user expansion has slowed in recent years, putting it in direct competition with dynamic platforms like TikTok and Snapchat, right? Moreover, Meta's substantial investment in the metaverse, a nascent concept of a virtual world we've all heard about, right, has strained companies' resources and affected its stock price. And, as we all know, they've laid off a lot of people that they hired for that project. That's not to say they won't go back to it again, but it's meant that they've been a little wishy-washy in their decision-making. People have lost a little bit of confidence. And they've also had their issue with privacy scandals, right? Tarnishing its reputation and leading to a departure of users from the platform. And I'm going to share some more controversy about not just Meta, not just social media, but what is going on in the world of technology in terms of taking advantage of the masses. I know. Stay tuned. It's gonna curl your hair or make your hair curl or both. All right. Just like governments, corporations are subject to criticism, making mistakes, and not addressing or keeping up with the rapid, revolutionary, exponential changes happening where now. And everything, everywhere, all at once. But despite this decline, it's important to recognize that Meta remains a formidable player in the tech industry. With its extensive user base and a history of impressive innovation, the company undoubtedly possesses the potential to overcome these challenges. But these challenges are there. Companies are going to make mistakes. They're run by humans, owned by humans, and they have a shadow side. I'm going to be exposing some of that shadow side so that we need to hold them accountable, right? We need to make sure that they stay with the kind of values that they preach and don't take advantage of their power that they wield to do the things that governments throughout history have done with the people of their country in the name of progress or whatever it might be, right? It doesn't make it right. So in order to maintain its growth trajectory and value, it's imperative for Meta to directly address all these issues. And I'm not just picking on Meta. I'm going to tell you that all these companies are doing the same things. And a lot of it is not good. But this is an example of how major corporations and or individuals can fall from grace and should never take the power of the voice of their peers and customers for granted or stop listening. We're going to be putting that to the test, right? So trust is the most valuable part of a relationship, right? It's the foundation. It is the relationship, right? And it's perhaps even more valuable than data. And some of these companies are valuing the data, their increasing financial prosperity, more importantly than the trust of their customers, as we will see. All right, so this is another issue that technology addresses and we shall look into. You may be surprised about what we discovered about some of these high-tech, multi-billion-dollar companies and how perhaps they need to be reeled in and act with more integrity and better morals. Competition, money, and profit can lead to behavior that is less than desirable, right? What was it? The British historian Lord Acton said it well. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So without trust, there is no society. There is no relationship. So we have a very antiquated and dysfunctional trust system in place. This system, which generates trillions of dollars in profits, trillions of dollars profit for the 1%, is about to be disrupted, as we shall see. Okay, so another company that we all know of course, Amazon, 1.63 trillion, larger than the GDP of Russia. What? I know. Putin would not be happy. They're in 200 countries. All right. And again, the same with Amazon. There's a tremendous trust factor. I don't know that it's as high when we talk about Jeff Bezos, but it's pretty high, right? So that's a great thing. And they need to protect it. They need to be aware of it and stop doing some of the things that I will tell you that they're doing and get back in line. So not as high as Apple trust factor, but millions of people trust and rely on Amazon every day. Me too, right? So Amazon has become much more than an online book company. That's how they started out, remember, right? Jeff Bezos was a bookman. Anyway, it's a global behemoth now, like in areas like marketing, distribution, and iCloud servicing as well. So this is the Amazon Web Services. As of Q1 2023, Amazon Web Services, AWS, accounts for 74% of Amazon's operating profit. 3/4 of their profit. And you think, wow, just think about how many people use their online services. That's insane. Well, what did I tell you? We live in an insane world. Anyway, so this means that Amazon Web Services is by far Amazon's most profitable business segment. This is also where its greatest growth lies. What we talked about, data is now considered to be the most valuable commodity on earth today. You might hear some of these things come up over and over again. Live with it. So we are creating a vast amount of data every second of every minute of every day, 24/7, 365. This precious commodity must be sorted, it must be stored, and it must be accessible 24/7, 365. This is where these iCloud storage and web service companies come in. The growth of the need of these storage services is exponential. Alphabet, let's take a look at Alphabet. Okay. Alphabet, of course, is the parent company of Google. 1.52 trillion, larger than the GDP of the other 38 of the 50 largest GDPs in the world. They're in 60 countries. People trust Google with their information every day, rightly or wrongly, but they do. All right, their name has become a verb. Not many people can pull that off, right? They did that with the Hoover, right? They didn't say get the vacuum out. They said get the Hoover out. People don't say, go onto the internet and put in the search engine what you want to find. They say Google it, right? These brands have tremendous power. They changed our language, right? So they have direct access to hundreds of millions of people. They have the potential in the not too distant future to become states or even countries on their own. Network states without borders, at least as we commonly define them, right? These network states are networks of people that can be in any country, anywhere in the world, that come together and create communities. Now, as we're going to talk about network states later, these are going to be like countries and have their own constitutions. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but doesn't it always? All right. Now, this is a graph here of trillion-dollar companies, and you can just see what's been happening. Now, some of them have gone up and gone down, right? Like I said, right? And we see an emerging one here, NVIDIA, right? So now, NVIDIA is not really emerging. They've been around a while, right? And, when I used to trade in securities, I used to trade options. I used to teach option trading. And we used to use a graph of how you could abort, options on NVIDIA. And you can buy options for any length of time, by the way, not just 3 months, 2 weeks, or 6 months. You can buy for years. And just seeing how you would have made a massive profit over the years. It's been a tremendous success story. It was founded in 1993 by Jensen Huang. Now he known as Jensen, right? Curtis Priam and Chris Malachowski. The company was originally called NVIDIA, which stood for Next Version NV. The name was later changed to NVIDIA. It makes it easier to pronounce. They just changed the spelling of it, right? So NVIDIA is a major player in the semiconductor industry, and it is well positioned for continued growth in the years to come. All right. So we know that it's a big player with artificial intelligence. It's also going to be a big player in the world of autonomous driving, both of which technologies are just going to explode. And the need for chips, not like the ones in the UK, just for those of you who are from England or tuning in from England. Those are French fries in America, chips in England, but it's technology here in the United States, right? So as of the August 25th, 2023, NVIDIA stock price had increased by a whopping 222.72% in 2023. It's closed at $200.85 per share on August 25th, 2023, compared to $54.50 a share on August 25th. 2022. Now, there are a number of factors that have contributed to the increase in NVIDIA's stock price this year. These include the company's strong financial performance, very well-run company. NVIDIA reported revenue of $26.9 billion in the fiscal year 2023 and earnings of $10 a share, $10.86, right? The continued growth of artificial intelligence and autonomous driving markets has also driven this, as we've said, right? NVIDIA is a leader in these markets, and its products are used by a wide range of customers, including major technology companies, automakers, and research institutions. The company's acquisition of ARM Holdings is a leading provider of microprocessor technology, and its acquisition by NVIDIA is expected to accelerate the company's growth in artificial intelligence and autonomous driving markets. So it's complementary, right? So they've done a lot of very smart acquisitions. Now, a lot of these big companies are just eating up these newer companies, these newer high-tech companies, which is fine. For the people who start those high-tech companies, they make their fortune, hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars, and check out. Who could blame them? What it's doing, though, is it's making these other corporations bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and more and more and more and more powerful. What is that going to mean? It's going to mean that companies are going to be countries. It's an inevitability if you really think about it, and you've seen how they've all just got bigger and bigger and bigger, wield more and more power, and governments are attracting more and more negative energy, less and less trust, right? It's inevitability. Now, is it going to go down easy? No. Our government's going to just relinquish? No. It's going to be quite a process. And so you better fasten your seatbelt, all right? But NVIDIA's influence in the near future is undoubted. The need for their chips is greater than their ability to supply them, a problem that is likely to prevail for the foreseeable future. However, the long-term future is not so certain. New technologies that could completely replace the need for silicon chips is already on the horizon. Quantum computers could turn Silicon Valley into the new Rust Belt. I know that seems hard to believe right now, but the process of that happening is already underway. Look, 10 years ago, the telecommunications business was thriving. Now, the industry has lost over $2 trillion in market value over the last 10 years. This is due to a number of factors, including the rise of competition. The telecommunications industry is now more competitive than ever before. New entrants such as wireless carriers and cable companies have chipped away at the market share of traditional communications providers. Sorry, pun. I couldn't help it. All right, the decline of voice. So voice calling is becoming less and less important. I mean, this is an irony. or maybe it isn't, but it was interesting, or maybe funny. The first person that actually texted me was my mom. Can you believe that? My mom was always ahead of everything, right? And I would say, Mom, why don't you just call me? Oh, it's so much easier. She was in, she got it quick, right? I was low on the uptake, right? So the use of voice is becoming less important. We switch to other forms of communication, such as text and messaging. And then, of course, the other thing then is video chat, right? So this has led to a decline in revenue for communications providers. Now, the rise of over-the-top or OTT services, such as Netflix and Hulu, offer streaming and video and music without the need for traditional cable or satellite, which is English for satellite. This has led to a decline in the number of pay TV subscribers, which has hurt the telecommunications industry as well. The high cost of infrastructure, the telecommunications industry is a capital-intense industry. The cost of building and maintaining networks is very high, and this has weighed on profits. The telecommunications industry is facing a number of challenges, but it is also undergoing a period of transformation. So look, we've got new technologies that are emerging in the world of telecommunications, very important, critical, crucial technologies like 5G, cloud computing are both opening up new opportunities for growth. Now, we also have in the pipeline, 5G is not fully integrated, not even close yet. And we've already got 6G in the pipeline as well. So the industry is also becoming more focused on providing data services such as broadband, internet, and mobile connectivity. So it's too early to say whether telecommunications or the telecommunications industry will be able to recover from its losses over the last 10 years. However, the industry is making changes that could help it to weather the storm and emerge stronger in the years to come. Here's the point. I've already made it. All these new technologies will come. Some will stay, some will struggle and then survive, and some will go. This process has always been happening, right? Think of lots of companies, businesses, technologies that have come and gone. It's just happening faster than ever before. So the rapid, radical, revolutionary, exponential change will continue to accelerate. Smaller and more nimble companies that are able to adopt and adapt will continue to thrive and grow. Those that don't will tumble and go. I know, poetic. So smaller is better. Less is more. This provides now, like we're going to be talking about, with all these new technologies, the democratization and demonetization of everything provides a much more equal footing for everybody. So, you've heard it over and over again. You can do this. Yes, you can. And you can. And you need to. And you're going to. Right? Good. Now, recognize that was way over there. All right. So free Google data. Right. So you think of, what is, when we talk about demonetization, you think about, well, you want to Google something. How much do you pay for that? What are you talking about? You don't pay anything for it. No, I know. But that's what my point, right? It's free, right? Music, all these things, right? In his book, Free by Chris Anderson, which, by the way, was published in 2009. If you haven't read it, a little slow on the uptake. But anyway, Anderson was born in London, England, and he studied philosophy at the University of Oxford. He moved to the United States in 1994 to work as an editor for Wired magazine, and he became the magazine's editor-in-chief in 2001 and served in that role until 2007. In 2006, he published his first book, which is called, and still is called, The Long Tail. The book argued that the internet had created a new economic reality in which niche products could be successful even if they were not mass market hits. Now, he then created another version of that book called The Longer Tail. But in 2009, he published his second book, Free. The book argued that the internet was making it possible for businesses to profit by giving away products and services for free. In 2010, Anderson founded MakerBot Industries, a company that develops 3D printers, which are playing and will play an even bigger role in the future of our economy, the global economy, manufacturing, and bringing things, products and services to us instantly rather than it having taken months in the past. MakerBot was acquired by Stratasys in 2013 for $403 million. See, you get my point, right? In 2011, Anderson joined the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, and he is currently a general partner at the firm. Okay, so he's gone from being an expert on science and technology to creating a technology company, a product and a service, selling it, cashing out, and now he is a venture capitalist. All right, Anderson is a frequent speaker and writer on the topics of technology, business, and innovation. He's also a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council on the future of information technology. So his predictions were based on science, data, the evolving technology at the time. He not only correctly predicted all these things happening, he showed us the way for us to all be able to predict the future using a plethora of science, data, and now the technology that provides everyone, everywhere, all at once, access to the science and data via artificial intelligence. Some more recent examples, of course, you got Spotify, because music now has been demonetized. The artists don't make money out of the music anymore. They make it on their tours and on their products, the stuff, art, open source software, artificial intelligence, quantum computers, information, automation, scalability. Think about the blockchain and what's that going to do for our ability to be able to have built-in trust, which is created, without that, crypto wouldn't be able to work. So we're seeing all these demonetization and democratizing of everything, money, everything, our health. We're all going to have sovereignty over our money, over our health, over our information, over our data. I know it's a whole new world, but we're just starting to see now as we go through these early episodes of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'm giving you a good sense of what is happening, what is occurring from a sort of a very basic ground up level and where it's taking us, how we're going to get there, and how you can take advantage of all these incredible technologies and opportunities. All right. People and places that have not had access to the internet, information, artificial intelligence, and even quantum computing will soon have access to them. And this will level the playing field. We'll be able to tap into human potential that we're unable to tap into up until now. That's always been there. I've mentioned a couple of times the college in India called Barefoot College, where they went out to local villages that had no one had been to college or school before, and they educated them. But they found there was just a wealth of genius and incredible intelligence there. And so there's so many untapped resources right now because we not have connectivity. We're going to talk about how we're going to be able to globally connect to get all this incredible information, democratize and demonetize everything. And all this is leading us to our ultimate goal. We're going to get rid of lack. We're going to have abundance. We're going to have an abundance of wealth, health, peace, joy, happiness. Yes, I know it sounds airy-fairy, but it's going to happen. Just stick with me here. Are you with me? Without me? Without me. Down here. With me. Here. Okay. Stick with me. I know we're not there yet. And like I said, we're going to look at the obstacles and challenges we face, and there are many, I know. We're going to get into that minutia, and it's important that we do. Like Ray Dalio says, listen, if you're worried, there's no need to be. And if you're not worried, you should be. Maybe even more than you realize, but we're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You will see it. Another company that has become a household name and that will be a major player in the future of humanity. It's my best guess. Tesla, right? So 796 billion at the moment. That is going to get much more. A lot of people say they don't make as many cars as Ford or GM or any of these, all right? I know. But what is coming is huge. But they're in 40 countries right now. The larger the 796 billion is larger than the GDP of Portugal and the other 15 countries in the top 50. So what does this mean? Well, obviously, Tesla is often the subject of controversy, boasting a dedicated following. I mean, it's amazing that he's built this brand without any advertising, and they've been pushing him to do some advertising. And now with Twitter and him hiring an executive to actually do the advertising for Twitter, he's becoming a little bit more open to it. And I think if you watched the last stockholders meeting, he did agree that he's going to do a little bit of advertising. But, it's emerged as one of the most influential conglomerates of our time. Alongside its associated enterprises, Tesla is strategically positioned to shape the future of our planet, not just our economy, right? And the potential of humanity as an interplanetary species. I know. Within the vast multiverse. So as we delve into these remarkable companies, we will explore their strategic positioning and their pivotal role in driving innovation for a sustainable future. Another example of the rise of corporate giants, Tesla signifies a significant shift in power dynamics where businesses wield a level of influence and global reach that rivals or even surpasses that of nations. With what Tesla has in place and assuming continued growth and success of its symbiotically connected companies, Tesla stands to be the biggest conglomerate of them all, wielding immense power and influence in every country on the planet. In fact, Tesla could well be the leader in the democratizing of information and the demonetization of the global economy and bringing about a more peaceful world, not to mention creating a holiday or second home for us all on Mars. Now, I said before, it's not been easy for Elon, nor will it be. In fact, it is more likely to get much harder. He's already rubbing up against powerful systems, money powers, and governments. He will need all his dexterity and genius to circumvent the storms ahead. I guess we will see. Whatever happens with Tesla, this all heralds a new era of corpocracy, where corporations may well hold more power than governments. In their pursuit of global domination, these companies are paving the way for a myriad of groundbreaking technologies with countless more yet to be imagined. So stay tuned as we delve deeper into this ever-evolving global and local landscape in our forthcoming Everything, Everywhere, All at Once series. Our goal here is to educate and prepare people around the world for what is to come and live life on their own terms. So make sure you subscribe below. Not only so you can continue to be informed, but also the likes and subscriptions we get, the more people we can reach. So let's look now at how major corporations are becoming more bold and wielding the power of their network status to challenge the status quo. So this is an article about the lawsuit between Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and Disney. So Disney negotiated with the state of Florida way back when they were building Disney World. Florida was just in an embryonic state, and Disney was going to bring a tremendous amount of revenue, people, awareness to Florida. And so they negotiated basically that the lands that they operate their kingdom on is theirs, and it has a separate domain, in essence. All right. Then they started to assert their political views in Florida, and it wasn't taken well by Ron DeSantis. All right. So the company is asserting its jurisdiction over its land and authority after Ron DeSantis started to, in their mind, have to start to do punitive action because of what they had said about some of his decisions. This is the gist of what's been going on, right? So it's shedding light on the growing clout of major corporations in today's society. So I'm not here to talk about who's right or wrong here. I'm just saying this is a major corporation taking on a very high-powered government official, the governor of a state, and having a lawsuit and getting into a fight. So the lawsuit highlights a burgeoning phenomenon where large companies are becoming so influential that they are openly challenging political powers. The unfolding of this event, regardless of its outcome, signifies a paradigm shift in the power dynamics between corporations and political institutions, thereby indicating the escalating potency of influence of corporate entities. So here's another one. The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is a contract chip maker, which means that it makes chips for other countries. Now, it's the largest chip maker in the world, and it accounts for half of the global market for outsourced semiconductor manufacturing. So it was founded in 1987 by Morris Chang. The company's headquarters are located in Hsinchu, Taiwan, and it has manufacturing facilities in the United States and China as well. Now, their customers include the big names, Apple, Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and AMD. Their chips are used in a wide range of products, including smartphones, tablets, computers, and servers. So TSMC is a major player in the global semiconductor industry. The company is well positioned for continued growth in the years to come as demand for semiconductors is expected to grow in a number of key markets, including, of course, artificial intelligence, autonomous driving, and the Internet of Things. Now, the reason I bring TSMC into the conversation here, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, is because of its power and influence in the world. China has claimed Taiwan as its own territory since 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party defeated the Kuomintang in the Chinese Civil War. The KMT retreated to Taiwan, where it established the Republic of China. The CCP, which now rules mainland China, considers the ROC to be a breakaway province and has vowed to eventually reunify Taiwan with the mainland. Now, the United States has a long-standing policy of strategic ambiguity regarding Taiwan. This means that the U.S. has not explicitly stated whether or not it would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese attack. However, the U.S. has also provided Taiwan with billions of dollars in military aid, and it has a mutual defense treaty with Japan, which could be interpreted as a guarantee of U.S. support for Taiwan. Now, the situation in Taiwan is complex and volatile, and there's a growing sense of Taiwanese identity, and many Taiwanese people do not want to be ruled by China. However, there is also a fear of Chinese military action if Taiwan declares its independence. The current situation regarding China's claim that Taiwan is part of China is it's all tense and uncertain, isn't it? It is possible the situation could escalate in the future, but it is also possible that it could remain stable. The outcome of the situation will likely depend on a number of factors, including the political situation in China, the U.S. stance on Taiwan, and the will of the Taiwanese people. So here's the thing. Why would the United States be prepared to go to war with China if China were to invade Taiwan and to reclaim its territory? For one reason, and one reason only: Taiwan Semiconductor Company. Huh? We need their chips. TSMC holds all the chips. You see, our way of life would end without these chips. Ask anybody who eats Pringles. Look, just like Pringles, though, TSMC wants global domination. I mean, look at the logo. No, not the Pringles logo. Look, we rely heavily on chips that they make. America is prepared to go to war for them. This is how much power one company has, one resource has. right? The power of companies is only going to grow exponentially as our lives revolve more and more around technology, as these behemoths end up becoming unicorns, right? Unicorns grow larger and larger. Unicorns are billion-dollar companies, right? So does their power and influence, as they grow bigger and bigger, so does their power and influence in the global economy in our lives, right? So this is just making the point. We're going to talk more about this as we go forward, but Netflix, their supremacy in the streaming service industry is built on numerous competitive advantages. First and foremost, their extensive and devoted customer base. They've got 222 million subscribers worldwide, and that would make it the 5th largest country in the world, right? That is a tremendous amount of influence over the hearts and minds of people. As we will see later, Netflix is a powerful medium with which to reach the hearts and minds of millions of people, and is already having a massive effect on the consciousness of humanity in various ways. So this massive customer base ensures a steady revenue stream and enables substantial investment in fresh content. This not only positions them as the largest global streaming service, but also grants them the edge over their rivals. The Netflix brand, renowned for its premium content, plays a pivotal role in attracting and retaining customers. Their vast content library encompasses a wide range of options, including movies, TV shows, documentaries, of course, stand-up comedy specials, ensuring there is something for everyone. Furthermore, Netflix's substantial investment in original content sets them apart from their competition. Of course, that's a big issue right now with the writers' strike and everything, and what's going on and what that's going to mean, and how they're going to use AI to perhaps develop famous actors who will just be artificial intelligence. That's a whole other subject that we'll get into later too. So the critically acclaimed and beloved original productions have helped draw in new subscribers while existing ones and keeping existing ones engaged as well. So by leveraging data-driven personalization via artificial intelligence, Netflix ensures that users are more likely to discover content tailored to their preferences, thus booming user engagement. And it won't be long before we can make our own movies and star in our own movies. Besides the one that you're starring in right now, we'll create ones that we think we're making outside of ourselves, and before we realize we're starring in our own 6D movie. Oh, we're going to get to that, the 6Ds of movies. Lastly, Netflix global presence spanning over 190 countries allows them to tap into a vast and expanding market that competitors simply cannot match. These advantages are just a glimpse of what has propelled Netflix to the top of the streaming service industry, and they are poised to continue fortifying their dominance in the years to come. Now, of course, they have some pretty serious competition, and they will need to stay ahead of the explosive emerging technologies and opportunities that they present. We can all remember Blockbuster, right? Well, some of us can. Okay. All right. Now, as we come to the conclusion of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, episode 4, quick review. Companies are in a race to create their own multiverse as well as their own metaverse, where they create a world that has everything you need, from entertainment to an environment you want to be and live in. Okay, where you want to be and where you want to live. We discussed how companies are becoming as powerful as countries. Corpocracy is becoming even bigger than ever. Corpocracy is going to have a greater influence on the politics of the global economy. Corporations are already clashing with governments as global economies become more interconnected via technology. Governments are going to be threatened and already beginning to lose power. This will create a major shift that will be very tenuous and cause tremendous upheaval. We're in the process of growing network states where people who have like minds, opinions, and values are going to come together and create, in essence, what will be countries with their own laws and constitution. All right, and we're going to talk about that. As Bajali Srinivasan talks about network states, right? We'll be discussing nation states in the next episode of Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, we are going to slowly get you acclimatized to these concepts. We're going to be speeding up in the next episodes, challenging some of your core beliefs. You're going, what? My beliefs are already challenged. Well, get ready for more. So as we conclude here, I want to do, as usual, is share with you some soultry, the poetry of the soul. This will help you assimilate what we've talked about and connect you with your soul. Let's take a deep breath. Just let it out. One more deep breath and then close your eyes. So relax, or better yet, chillax, right? So one of the things I like to remind people about is the importance of having curiosity, a childlike curiosity about life and learning. Children are fast learners. I mean, and they're so playful, right? They have that curiosity, that playfulness. You think about this. This is an adult is walking down the street. I know, not a sight you see very often, right? But let's say there's a puddle there, right? So an adult will walk around the puddle, right? All right. And what about an old person? And age is nothing more than a mindset, right? So I mean, I know when I talk about an old person, I'm talking about someone with an old mindset, right? They may have they may, there are people that have a lot of chronological years that have a very young mindset, right? So I'm talking about someone with an old mindset, old mind and old spirit, right? And they come across the puddle. What are they going to do? They're just going to walk around, right? They're going to walk around and complain that it is there, right? But what about a child? What are they going to do? They're going to jump in and enjoy the puddle, right? Make the most of the experience. So I want you to do that as we go through this process here, as we go through it, everything, everywhere, all at once. I want you to have that childlike curiosity. Be fun. I love to have fun. Hopefully you recognize that already. I've been a little bit constrained by the subject matter. We'll get more and more into ad-libbing and just sharing with you some quantum physics experiences and some really powerful, humorous stories. Anyway, so this piece of soul tree that I'm going to share with you now is called Children Are Playing. So with your eyes closed, here we go. Children are playing like instruments that sound the song. They are the life of creation in which they always belong. For their cries and laughter in life, we will always long. In our minds, they make mistakes, but in our hearts, they can do no wrong. As they grow through experience at what seems like an incredible pace, we hold their hand in their heart through all that they face. When we finally let go for them to find their own space, we make sure they know in our heart and home, they always have a place. Into the future they run with the wind in their hair. Through the challenges they find strength because they know that you're there. In all of the gifts that life brings, nothing can compare to the love that you give them and to know that you care. As they become the glory that they have compiled, they may have lived a life that was tranquil and mild. They may have been crazy, outrageous, and wild, but in the eyes of creation, you are always a child. Yes, you are. As you continue this journey together, as we continue this journey together and beyond, I want to encourage you to remember with your inner child. Remind yourself that in the eyes of creation, you are always a child. Okay, let that sink in. And that is one of the most important parts of the most important sentiments of the entire Everything Everywhere All at Once series. You are light come to be. Become who you really are in the flesh as a human being. It's time to remember. It's time for you to recall. You ready? Gently open your eyes. Socrates said learning is simply remembering. He understood that we're simply in a state of forgetfulness. We're all on a journey of remembrance, remembering who we really are. Only in this state of forgetfulness can we experience the life that we've come here to live, individually and collectively. So we're coming to the end of one journey as we simultaneously embark on a new one. One where we reconnect with our true nature. One where we are in a connected state to our true nature. where we remind each other of who we really are so we can remember together, come together as members of the most elite club ever created, membership with the one and only. And the Greeks had a saying, saper ord, which has many meanings, but basically means dare to be wise. It'll have the courage to use your own mind, right? Your own reason. Dare to know. Dare to think for yourself. So look, the ultimate dare is to be who you really are in the presence of others. I use an acronym for DARE, D-A-R-E, Daily Active Remembering Experience. So at the end of each episode, I give everyone, everywhere, all at once a dare, a way to have a daily active remembering experience. So your dare for episode 4, should you choose to accept it, is to take a moment, reflect, remember, remind yourself of one of your favorite childhood moments, one of your favorite childhood memories. What was that memory? What happened? Who was with you? Did someone show you love and kindness? Did you show somebody love and kindness? How did you feel? Can you remember the feeling? Well, write about that in your Everything, Everywhere, All at Once journal. How can you bring forth that feeling more often for yourself and others? And commit to that. Share your memory with someone who you love, probably doesn't even know about that memory, and notice how that makes them feel. Then, of course, put your journal away and never think about this memory again. Or continue to share it. Make it part of your social interactions. Listen, writing is very hard for me because people say, well, Stephen, I don't know what to write. I have an aversion to it. I never know what to write. It's intimidating. But I ask myself, what if I can't think of anything to write? So, well, that's fine, Stephen, but you do. And so how do you start? All right, good question. Well, I do distract myself from doing it, but how do I start? I just follow my heart and intuition. Easy, right? Well, okay, that's not quite true. So first I find the idea, like I said, because it's not comfortable. Then at some point I remind myself that, I always do find some inspiration. Either I just write the first thing that comes to mind, or I find a thread that leads me to another thread, or I read something or listen to something or watch something of interest. But I look for some inspiration. Usually I find it within myself now, and I've got better at that, right? To begin with, it was much harder. I'd read all kinds of things. So there's no right or wrong way. Look, your heart and soul will find its own rhythm. Just let your heart sing your song. That's what's most important. It's why you're here. So look, I hope to be inspired by your heart. I hope that's one day soon. In the meantime, saper ord, dare to be wise.